It is 6:03. Today is Thursday, November 13th, 6:03 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. A few things to mention. BCTV is not going to be recording this meeting. They are very busy and short-staffed. They have a 50th anniversary celebration that's approaching. It's a huge milestone. So they have been more than flexible with us and our community and needs. So what we're going to do is the Zoom recording we will send to them as well to our minute taker, Meredith, who has joined us here, but we'll make sure that she has the recording as well so that that piece can still be handled and they'll still be available on BCTV. So that being said, the next step I'm going to do is Meredith is here, but as people come on, I just want to have a quick roll call. So there's Abigail Pelton, Dan Roth, Kate Fellows, Kathy Edgerly, Meredith Block, Michael Pelton, and Pat McLean for attendance for the meeting tonight. Moving on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence, Dan or Kate, that you'd like to share?
Nope.
I did receive an email from Pat. It wasn't clear if I went to the whole board or to just myself regarding Windham News and Notes. And we haven't been submitting articles to them, largely due to we're reestablishing what is going on and how we're going to navigate this. And that's been kind of challenging to add on to as a to-do list for the board. But given as where we're going to be going with this agenda, just since, especially since Pat's on here tonight, I do believe that we would be interested in, if you, Kate, or Daniel would be willing to put something together kind of when, especially when we get to the school district redistricting portion of this agenda. There's information I think we do want to get out to the community and get people there. So would either of you have interest in writing something for the news and notes or have time?
I can
And
do
if
it,
not,
but
maybe we can.
Yeah, I don't want to. I can do it unless Dan would like to. I don't. Him and I can arm wrestle over it if you want. Whatever. But I'm happy to do it.
Okay. So what I would say is, because this is depending on what we're kind of getting bombarded with as board members, and wanting to pass that information along to the community in a very collected way, it can be really a tough lift sometimes. And I think in trying to collaborate with Pat, since Pat, you're on here, are you able to unmute?
Yes.
Thank you. If we are running into just absolute life chaos while we're trying to continue our triage as board members here, but to keep things updated, if say Kate's busy or Daniel's busy and we aren't going to have an article, would this be something that maybe we could just have a discussion with you, or somebody could reach out to you and say, hey, these is the matters that we're talking about. And you could maybe put something together, or someone else on news and notes could, so that the information's getting passed along? Or is that not anything you guys would be willing to do?
Well, let's see what we can get done. I think our deadline is pretty short for this next issue because it's over the Christmas holidays that it goes to print and gets out. So I'm happy to work with Kate, and I'm happy to help with editing on anything. So I wasn't hoping not to have to write the entire article. I edit everything and I write several articles each time, but I think it's real important to get the word out to our community. So I
Yes.
would bend over backwards to give you assistance.
Thank you,
What's
Pat.
the deadline, Pat?
I believe it's the 13th. Let me hold on a minute. I've got it right here.
Today?
No, 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 no. The 13th of December.
Oh, okay.
December
If you
13th.
can have that in 2 hours.
Pressure's on, Kate.
No, it's next month. We go out.
Totally. That's fine. I can.
Okay.
Yep. No worries.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. So that answers Pat's correspondence, hopefully. And if you guys don't have anything else, we can move over to public comment. Okay, moving on to public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? And just so it's clear to everyone as well, there's 0 people at the school building with me right now. So um, we're not missing out on anything here. So we'll move on to changes to the agenda. I do have 2 things I would like to add under new business. So there's gonna be a section of self-assessment and vision, and then next agenda items. Because once we get through our new business, there's going to be things we definitely need to move forward with for the next meeting. Do you guys have any other changes or additions or want me to take anything off? Oh, the superintendent report. Bob and Heidi are both at the WCSU officers meeting that's occurring at the same time, so they will also not be here today. So we've got a lot of folks that are not here that would be here. So the superintendent report will be removed from new business. Anything else from you guys? Perfect. All right.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I said nope.
Oh, okay. So I am going to, I didn't need to do that. Oh, big screen. There we go. All right. So moving on to new business, we have the DQS survey discussion and action. So this was something that was given to the superintendent to all the boards to fill out, and we need to do this for them. So I think I have it open. Bear with me. There it is. So I will read these. We're going to go through and we do an assessment, and this is what we're going to put in and I'll submit it. I'm actually going to fill it right out on my phone. Starting off, the Windham District's Quality Standard Survey. The purpose of this form is to informally collect data that is due to the Agency of Education in the form of a board level self-assessment on several of the 25 standards with the DQS. Please take your time and give thoughtful answers about how well your district boards meet the standards. Thanks. So, I don't know why it's on that account. Hold on. What is going on with my phone? Okay, sorry about that. It was the wrong email in there. Governance priorities. The board follows an inclusive process to invite and incorporate community input into the vision and goals for the school system. A proficient score of 3 is defined as the board is proficient when all prior conditions in the following are met. The community engagement to gather input into vision and goals. The board identifies barriers, both real and perceived, that may prevent different community groups from participating in the board's engagement efforts and provides opportunities for those groups to give input. The board has ensured the vision and goals are publicly available. So we have to rate this between 1 and 4. And beginning is 1, advanced is 4. I will start off with having on this board the most experience of being a part of this stuff. We have really been through significant and constant change. So the idea of vision and goals as a board, we've faced many challenges with that. I would say we are probably a 3, and that is because we have been getting information and learning as we go. And I have a lot more that I can explain about how the policies work and how we track the policies. But including the community, we're really good at getting out the information. All of our meetings are recorded. They're on BCTV. I think where I would ding us on the 1 is, that we've ensured the vision and goals are publicly available. We're wishy-washy on what that is, and we're looking for more information. And that's kind of part of where we're at and how we're navigating moving forward. So mine would say a 3, but we're going to take this matters to everybody. So since we're doing this here, not individually, how do you guys feel about that? Because you're not as informed on this and the process as I've been.
I would give us a 2 on that. I think the what we've been adjusting this year is how we communicate with community and how so we do things already, but I think there's potential for us to do more. And I think that will happen I'm still very green to this, but I see avenues
Awesome.
that we can increase that communication. So I would give us a 2, but
okay. And Daniel, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we'd fall into this?
I think it'd probably be a 2 as well. I think
2
it's like 2 is kind of like neutral, better, but could be, or good, but could be better.
Excellent. Okay. Annual goals and progress review. At least annually, the board sets measurable goals and regularly reviews the progress towards those goals. So my binder here from Forever in a Day, we have listed, now I get through all the statutes, with policy that starting is the community engagement and vision policy. So there's self-assessments that go along with that. And when it comes to the community engagement and vision of self-assessment, it's a checklist. All of this is, if you guys have gone through your toolkits on the VSBA website, this is all the information that they have there. It tells you all of, I have a grid in here of where we are at, what we kind of show you I have a lot of stuff in here, but so there's like all the different policies, when they were updated by the VSBA, and then we have a whole section in here of where we were when we've signed these off. So we're doing well with tracking that. You guys might not be aware of that, but I do hope to have similar binders. I know you guys have heard me talk about these binders. And it's, again, information we just pull off of the VSBA website. So that's in those toolkits. Really, really good and simple. And then we're going to be moving forward with this, depending on kind of how some of this future conversation on our agenda goes. So again, back to where this was with goals and progress review. Is there a plan for us to do this? Yes, there is a plan. We have the information to do it. Have we set a time? Not right now. I'd like to, by the end of this meeting, to set a time to be working on this. It does piggyback off of the redistricting challenges. So what do you say on this? Since it's new, a 2? You want to do a 2 on this as well?
Yeah, I'm
comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. So being clear too, when we're scoring as a 2, they're saying proficient is at least a score of 3. So
I see.
That's it kind of, for me, I realize you guys might not have it in the binder, but it isn't anything we don't have access to. And I do have it for us organized. So we do have the stuff which I think would make us proficient. So I just want to throw that.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, that I don't have it in front of me. And I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean that I see. I'm Abby, I've got this up on my computer too, so I can just read it and hear it. I'm not clicking anything, but
and this is, like I said, just it has to represent all of us. So it's okay if you want things to be a 2. We need to recognize that, and that's something that's a goal of ours that we have to work towards, is in getting at least proficient.
How do we track student academic progress in a choice district? Do we have or wellness for that matter? I mean, besides behavioral things that come
you're
up
jumping ahead.
Oh, am I? I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry. But it says that
we're inviting people to incorporate community input into the vision and goals of the school system. So even though our vision and goals isn't established, we put that as a 2. And then the next was annual goals and progress review. At least annually, the board sets measurable goals and regularly reviews the progress towards those goals. So that was another 2. And student progress and wellness. So yes, that's the next one. And at least annually. So this was what we were faced, kind of piggybacked off of when it went to choice, why the board was really unable to kind of write for the news and notes, because it became even more of a challenging concept of writing an article and tracking down families and trying to say, how's everything going with everybody who's here and everybody who's there. And people were kind of also in the middle of healing and dealing with their own new adjustments and new routines. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be somehow, shape, or form finding out about that and finding out about it says my connection's unstable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're getting most of it.
Yeah,
Did that
it
work
comes in
okay?
a little weird sometimes,
Okay.
but it's good for the most part.
So that when we start through we do the policy and the self-assessments, it is Barbara Jean Quinn joined us for minutes there, Meredith. This is a stepping stone, right? So when you are doing the self-assessments and the vision, you work towards its similar process of let me just pull the page out, see if I can show you a better grid. So this one is effective and ethical operations and self-assessment. So if you go to your toolkit in the VSBA, you get these grids, right? That's what, and the options are fully achieved, mostly achieved, partially achieved, beginning to achieve, don't know, unsure. So the board has a conflict of interest party, the conflict of interest policy. The conflict of interest policy is adhered to. It's reviewed according to policy review schedule. It is, I have that checked. That's also something that's supported through the SU that they also help remind us of. So these assessment things we should be doing in our meetings. So I would say we're not doing them, but we also should be. Why have we not been doing them? Because it's been absolute chaos, and even in the stormy waters and trying to navigate into some calmer space, which we're at. So this is all how we will be doing things. So I think right now, I would give the student wellness a 1 for us. We are beginning the stages of figuring out how to obtain that information. But I feel that as we move forward with kind of the beginning self-assessments, all of these things will snowball into place. So, are you guys comfortable with a 1 for that?
Yes. I wish there was another option, because I think it's different for us as we're not managing a school. I think it would be very different to measure an ethos of students who weren't in 3 or 4 places. So I think it's a little different. I would like to, I mean, out of curiosity, I've been interested to see how other choice districts rate this, but I think there's room for improvement. And I agree with you.
One of the best ways I can foresee that happening is while we're in this limbo, essentially, as we're going to talk about down the road here, we might just disappear as a district. We don't know the outcome of what that's going to be. But until then, I'd like something to do with having a mixer here where the kids can come together just for a couple hours, do it, play music. It doesn't need to be a big expense. Popcorn and music, they'll be happy. Juice. Get the kids, even though they're all over the place, having a space to hang out, and then asking them when they're all there, how would they want to have their voices heard? Start reaching out to have them, if they want to be involved in what's going on, but really hearing from the students and trying to support how that would look. But we can develop all that as we're going through, but that's just some ideas of what we can do to get an understanding from the boots on the ground themselves as to how happy they are and how things are going. So, but I wouldn't say we're there yet. We've done a lot of great things in trying to do community stuff, but as a board, I would say we're in the beginning. Does that sound good for one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're almost done with these guys. We only have a few. The superintendent performance evaluation. Yes, we've done this. This frustrates me. So, okay. How this process works, just so if you guys are unaware, we'll be very clear. The superintendent's process works. We get the survey information that's supposed to be anonymous, but like most surveys, there's telling information, so it's not. But you answer performance questions. Then that information is sent up to the executive committee board, the executive chair members, and just the chair members are the ones that will review that information and submit the evaluation. So if there's feedback that they might not want to include in there, it might not get put in. And I don't think the rest of the executive committee knows what the actual input was. So I would say we're advanced on this. We know the process. I know the process. It's not complicated. I don't agree with the process. I don't think it's actually the best way to obtain information for the eval, but it's not a challenging process. We have a meeting just like we're doing this, but it would be an executive session, and we go over the stuff and put in the comments, and that's it.
When does that happen?
So, let me see if I have the last eval.
It's not a big deal. I assume I haven't seen one
No,
yet.
Howie did it with us. So
Got it. That would make
Howie
sense.
was on. But I want to say that I want to say it's towards like February, but I could be wrong.
I got it. Okay.
So,
yeah, I think it was summer, like January, February time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's coming up, but that's the process. We just have an executive session and conduct the survey and answer the questions and submit it. And then it goes away. So, I'd say advanced. It's not a challenging process for that. You guys okay with that? Okay. Board performance assessment. The board annually assesses its performance, including adherence to agreed protocols, processes, and policies. So this is part of our, when we review policy, we go through, like, we'll have, like we just did, we have some on the agenda tonight. We're adopting policy F5 behavioral threat assessment. So we warn it, we look at it, we figure it out, and a lot of it is legally, advised to be warned by the VSBA. So the process is very clear. What this, I think, is specifically referring to is how we self-assess that process. So knowing how we've been doing the policies, do you guys feel that we're doing it okay? We're not actually sitting down and annually assessing it, but that's the process. I wouldn't.
I think you could put
beginning. I'd say proficient for that one.
I was gonna say 3 for that. That makes sense to me.
I agree.
Okay, perfect. And then board impact on goals. The board annually reviews whether and or how its actions have impacted the school system's success in meeting goals. So again, we're in a weird space, right? Prior to last year, this is what was part of our checklist that I have. But as everything has changed, as the checklist needs to change. So I would say we're 3, but it also doesn't apply.
That's it. It's kind of a,
So we're
it's not,
proficient because I don't want to zing us like we don't know what we're doing, but it's also, should anything change, we do have the understanding of the annual work that we have to do.
Mhm.
Um, what are your guys' thoughts on rating that one?
That's, yeah, that I wish there wasn't, because it doesn't really apply to us. We don't have, I mean, it doesn't apply. And maybe in that way we can just be proficient. I don't know another way to list that. It's not like we need improvement on it. It's not something we're in charge of.
Right. I mean, our actions and contributions, we manage the budget to ensure the tuition's paid.
That's a really
Kind of a
big
big
goal.
deal. Like,
So I think
that's our whole gig. So I don't want to say like we're in the beginning, like we pretty
no,
well know we're paying the tuition.
everybody got paid. We could put a 3. I think that's I,
Right? Like it's
yeah,
not does that support it? It better, because that's
yeah,
what
Yeah.
got a bigger problem if we
I mean,
don't.
then transportation. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, hey, you
Okay.
know what, Daniel, you just met on that. So,
Yep.
we're planning, in which we are developing the bus stuff and how that goes. I might even give us an advance because we are above and beyond doing the bus thing. That's
Mm.
extra that we are doing.
We need at least 1 4.
That we do.
4 it is. Okay. Bear with us, folks. There's just a few more on here. Community engagement evaluation. The board annually evaluates the effectiveness of community engagement and public communication efforts. So again, that falls in with the, as we're progressing through the grid of the vision, and community engagement is in there. So one of the things that we are, I believe, continually working on, and Kate, you can attest to this, is we are trying to reach out to bigger groups of folks. We're trying to get the word out. We're doing all we can. I think I'm not sure what else we would be able to do. We have all of the meetings recorded on BCTV. We are very good at getting our info out.
That being said, I was late on this one, and that's my fault. And I will address that the next time I send it out. I got that out this morning, and that was on me. So I apologize to who's ever here on that. But that being said, I would really like the emails to follow the same standard that the legal posting does. There's no reason that it shouldn't. But yeah, I think that's that wasn't something that was as well. I can't say that it wasn't as managed. I think we could put 3 for that. I mean, as much community involvement, we do send it out through WCO, we do send it through email, and we do record it. That's pretty, I don't know.
Right.
I don't have other ways that we could overachieve on that one. I think 3's fine.
Perfect. 3 it is. Continuous learning. The board undertakes its own continuous learning and development and provides members with opportunities for ongoing training and support to maintain and increase their skills and understanding. I'm going to say we're a 4. I know I have attended countless trainings. I went to the redistricting meeting on Monday, which was all day during the power outage, flicker on and off. I had to hide in my horse trailer freezing because I needed my Wi-Fi to stay in the meeting. So my cell service doesn't work in the house. Wi-Fi does, but it doesn't if it's flickering. So there's a lot, and I don't know if folks realize this, that we do on our own time between not only reading up on what's going on through the VSBA, but also following other board meetings, reading minutes from other board meetings, trying to stay informed as to what's going on. There's a lot of extra that comes along with being on this board. And I'm pretty impressed with, how much everybody takes on to do that. So I'd like to give us a 4 for this one, because I know you guys have attended stuff as well. And there's a lot. I mean, I have binders and all kinds of info and books and essential school board, workbook. So
I'm good with 4. There's no lack of opportunities to increase that as well, which I've been able to access very easily all the opportunities. So I think a 4 is, yeah,
Okay,
we're,
perfect.
yeah.
All right, policy review. The board discusses, adopts, and revises policies on a regular basis to ensure the system is supporting and meeting the needs of every student. So that is part of our regular policy review, which we do. So we do that well. We're due to kind of go through and review some things, but for most of it, we would be way ahead to go revisit it, and we're doing pretty stellar in that department. So, do you guys see anything?
It says the board maintains a policy manual that's accessible by the community. Did we have one that was at this school? Do we have one at the town office?
So that's a good point. That was what it was kept online with the supervisory union.
Okay.
And they're not here to confirm if they keep that or not. If they do
Okay.
not, then we may need to ask B to move that stuff over. But that should be accessible there. And I would recommend that, when you find the updated version, you print it off and put it in with your stuff, because then you can see when the VSBA updated it. We're really good that when the updates come out, you can pretty much assume the next month or two, we've adopted it. We've warned it and adopted it. Older things that need to get revisited. I think the stuff we have is we've had meetings where it's like A through J, we're going through all the policy. So we've actually, I think, don't have anything that's even close to 4 or 5 years. I will go through and verify that, but we've gone through quite a bit in maintaining and making sure that that's up to date. So,
well, I'm on the SU website now, and the 2 that I voted on are here. And then they date back. So I don't know previous ones that I haven't voted on, but the 2 that I see, and then there's a long list behind it. So I think they are on the SU website.
Okay, good. So then we'll confirm that. So we just know where that is and the future of it, right? Because they're probably happy to, and where our adopted policies kept. Perfect. Okay. So what is the score for this one?
I think it's 3. I don't think I think it's good and it's recorded, and I think it meets standards.
All right.
Brief.
Perfect. Relationship with elected officials. Did you guys see my wink?
Yep.
Maintains an ongoing relationship with locally elected officials. So I'm married to a select board member. So that was that's why I was winking. But aside from joking, I would say our board has stellar support from not only our elected officials, but beyond. So I would say we're kind of way ahead of maybe a lot of other people with how close we can interact with George, Cord, and Michael on anything. And they're very good to respond. So I would say we're a 4 on that one.
I think that's a benefit of a small town. I think we could do that. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's totally.
Perfect. Okay, so I can hit submit. Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Submit that piece.
Send it. All right, it's sent. That'll make Bob very happy. He's been incredibly stressed over that. So check that off. Moving on, adopt policy F5 behavioral threat assessment teams, discussion, action. That was what we warned at our last meeting. This is the meeting that we adopt it. Again, this is a legally advised policy that, has come through the pipeline. I will move to adopt policy F5 behavioral threat assessment teams. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I
All right. Motion carries. Perfect. Okay, next, living strong, use of the building and lending of a key. I was approached by MA about the Living Strong group. So the meeting house has been going to be dealing with not only construction coming up, but the window, the window people.
Window dressers.
Thank you. Will be using the meeting house. And so she wanted to be able to know if they could use the building here while that's going on. So they can't really be in there. They're underfoot. I made an executive call. They had a group this morning. So you guys can beat me up if you want to. I don't think any of you would really have had a problem with them using the space. So I let her in and they had, I hope, a wonderful time today. And they want to know there's 2 more classes. I want to say Monday and Thursday next week, if they could use the building. So I would like to move to approve the Living Strong group be able to use the building. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? What do you guys think about that?
think it's a great idea.
It might be more comfortable for them than the meeting house, depending on the temperature in the winter, but I don't know. So
yeah, I did say to Emma, maybe you guys would like it and would want it for more than 3 days. But I think we'll give the 3-day trial a start here and see how they do. The other piece with that is that would also involve lending out a key, which I can give Emma a key to have for those few days. So I guess I would add to that motion to allow them to use the building and provide MA a key. So any further discussion? Yes, I see Michael and Pat have their hands raised. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's some other meetings too that are coming up that it might be convenient for the town to use the building. The select board, the upcoming select board meeting, and then also the CAC has a meeting in which the meeting house is going to be full of windows, I assume. So I'm wondering if you might be able to modify the motion, perhaps to allow the select board to start using the building and allowing access to the building, assuming that we have the waivers filled out accordingly and so forth. I know, like, the town currently has taken over most, if not all, of the bills, so it's not like we're not paying for the heat or anything like that. So it'd be awful nice if we could use it for a couple of different things.
Excellent. Thank you. Pat McLean?
Yeah, I was there this morning, and so we had 12 people in the group, and we were pretty comfortable. One thing we did notice some hornets buzzing around,
Yes.
or wasps, but I think the room is comfortable and it's certainly nice and bright. I think it really, I don't, it's important that we have it for this next period of time while they're doing the window dressers, but I think the construction period, I don't know when the construction period is going to start, but that's going to change everything that we do out of the meeting house. So I'm glad we will have a backup location for this and other things.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for coming today. That's a lot of folks. So wonderful. So we all good with so what I'll do is that motion was to allow Living Strong to use the building for the next 3 days and lend them a key for that time. If they would like to continue that as well for any reason, maybe that's part of it too. So should the motion be until how do we want to word that? Because I think it can be 2 separate motions especially because we're giving a key to MA. Instead of making one motion for the CAC and the select board, we could do 2, one particularly for the Living Strong, and then another motion to allow the select board and the CAC.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so start over. Meredith, I'm so sorry. All right. Move to allow the Living Strong group to continue their meetings on Mondays and Thursdays at 10. And to give MA a key. Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh,
Okay. Any further discussion? Pat, I don't know if your hand was up from before or if you have something else to add. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. All right, and then the Living Strong, so piggybacking off of that, clearly there's a need for the community to be using the building. So I make a motion to allow the select board and the CAC access to the building. Also, as long as the waivers are filled out. I did make that clear with MA. We got those waivers already. So can I get a second?
Second.
Oh,
All right. All those in favor
Right.
say aye. Oh, Michael?
aye.
Just for clarity and for people to be informed, I just wanted to let you guys know that I did pose the question to our town lawyer, the possibility of, for instance, the town leasing, quote unquote, the building for $1 so that we could take over the insurance liabilities and start using the building on the town's nickel. The short story long is that Bob Fisher, the town attorney, suggested that he was just going to put more pressure on the closing of the building so we can make it one clean, easy move. But we still, as far as I know, I haven't heard anything about a timeline for that, but that's sort of still pending.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So that passes. I'll make sure MA gets a key. Moving along, roof repairs. So there's some stuff to add with that. So since Living Strong came in this morning, I went in early and cleaned the multi-purpose room up because it'd been a while since it had been used. And there were, as Pat had mentioned, some hornets that I noticed in there. I did get some not alive ones that were around the windows and stuff, but I did notice a couple flying around. So they're in somehow. I did recognize some of the windows in the multi-purpose room might be a little warped, so I don't know if that's where they're coming in, but it looks like that and the roof have some challenges. So we're going to need to do some building maintenance things here as we're still responsible for it until things are final. So I would like to, I guess we would still reach out to Greg. Would one of you be willing to send an email out to Greg about the roof? We need to get the roof repairs and possibly the windows fixed. And I think if that happens, the hornets are not just going to be coming in. So would either of you be willing to do that for Greg?
Yeah, I can send Greg an email. I don't know if there's an extermination component to that as well, if there's hornets in a part of the roof, but
There's the windows that are facing the playground. There's a gap in one of the spots that I think they can easily come in and out, and it has tall
got it.
ceilings.
Okay.
So once we can figure that out, there's not a bunch of them, but we don't
Okay.
want there to be a bunch of them. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking if we can get the windows checked out as well as the, and that might even be something simple where there's, okay, words, Michael, you know me, the window ceiling things that's you can, yeah, that stuff. Maybe they can put that stuff in that'll do its magic. Pat, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was an observation that they were going in and out of one of the overhead lights.
Oh,
So they may be going up into the roof cavity.
okay. Yeah, geez, let's hope not. All right. Well, we may have that down the road. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, so there's an issue with a few shingles that are missing as well as part of the ridge cap. So I would assume that the wasp are going through the ridge where the ridge cap is supposed to be and down into the roof and then apparently through the light into the space, but I don't know that for a fact.
Look, it takes a village. Mystery solved. All right. So we got a whole kit and caboodle of challenges. Once we get those fixed, those little creatures are going to get evicted. So, all right. So thank you, Kate. And we'll wait to hear back from Greg on how we can proceed with that. Moving along to the Vermont School District Redistricting Task Force, Leland and Gray letter and survey results discussion action. As I had mentioned earlier, I didn't physically go, but I virtually attended the Redistricting Task Force meeting that they held on Monday. I have what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to send to Kate to send out what are they called? Where's my email here? So task force takeaways. It's like what they have for minutes, and send that to folks to take a look at. There's also, I will be sending the video that live streamed the meeting that took place on Monday. I would encourage folks to try to watch that. And this is everybody in the community to kind of just see really what's been going on. I got a lot of information out of that meeting. And it didn't look good for Windham. So I have a lot of concerns. The map that was the concerning map was not included in the proposal that they were going to send. And if you guys remember, we were going to, part of the survey that Kate had sent out, we were going to be writing a letter to the redistricting task force. And with our two special meetings that we tried to have, it didn't happen. We kind of missed a big window to get that letter to them. However, they do have another meeting coming up on the 20th. I included all of the emails of the people who are on the task force, and the ADM redistricting is the group, but it has the group as well as each individual email. And the more we discuss kind of what the takeaway was from that, this is me screaming from the mountaintops to everyone in our community: figure out what you need to figure out to advocate for, because if we do not do anything, we will no longer be. So what Kate did a really good job with the letter. But there is, especially after seeing the meeting, I feel that there's some key points that we really need to definitely focus on, and transportation being one of them. Oh, Kathy, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
I was just curious, when you said it didn't look good for Windham, could you explain what you meant?
Yes. So the way the map was drawn up, Windham would be part of what is called the Southeast District, Supervisory District. Now, town over Londonderry is part of the Southwest Supervisory Union that has other districts. There was a lot of questions that I had. I did email them prior to the meeting. I didn't get responses from folks from the task force that really answered any of my questions, and which also kind of made me feel like they weren't, because those questions weren't asked, they didn't even know to look at them. My fear, and what a lot of people were fearing, is if this is a forced merge, there are already lots of groups throughout the state that have been working on their own collaborations, their own ways to consolidate, how to make this, collaborative versus everyone's just forced and trying to figure it out. And that if they produced that map and sent it forward, that a lot of that would do a lot of harm to communities that are already been working on things. In our situation for Windham, if we were to be a part of that district, it was unclear if what our representation would be. So I don't know, currently we have the West River district where we have one person on, and we have our own district with 3. If that was to just become K through 12, we may only have, I don't know, one person from, it wasn't clear what we would have for representation. When you look at a large board like that, I mean, West River is an example of a big board. If you are trying to advocate for your community and nobody else aligns with you, it's all for naught. It's a hard push if you don't have enough backing to make any impact. And what would be the hard push for us? Our transportation challenges. If they just go away with our district, so does our transportation. So that's going to put our families that rely on that bus to get the kids to the bottom of the hill. West River's going to have to spend to figure out how they're going to navigate picking up the kids down to the bottom of the hill and adding it to their regular bus routes that they have. We don't know about future consolidations. We don't know if, down the road, if we're just part of this district and they say, you know what, the high school is going to be in Brattleboro. Are we going to have one person that's fighting for Windham to say, maybe we don't want that? There didn't seem a lot of explanation as to how people could argue that, like, what's the recourse when you're like, hey, this doesn't work for us. The other factor I was concerned about was they mentioned for places that were choice, you were already choice, so you get to stay choice. But if they absorb our district into the Southeast district, where it's just one board, it is no longer the same thing. So it was unclear, does our choice go away? How is that going to impact that half of our population goes to the mountain school? That's a big deal. Those are answers we need to have, and we need to know what that means before we just can roll over and say, sure, put us in this district that we are obligated K through 12. And that's it. There's no choice for school. That's the district provides a high school. That's where you go, which is different from the supervisory unions. So, again, I will send out and I will email bomb Kate with a bunch of stuff to forward. I'll try to get it all in one email for you, Kate, so it's easy, with references to where to find this information, where you can see the takeaways, where to get, even send the link for the last video. It's a 7-hour video. But I will tell you, the task force did not take this task lightly. They definitely worked very hard. I just wish we had been able to produce some input to navigate some of that. But we've also been kind of flying in the dark. We haven't received a lot of information from the supervisory union. I've been kind of trying to glean information from other districts, as well as what I can obtain online. But being Windham specific, we need to be screaming from the mountaintops that what Windham wants. And so when we talk about self-assessments and vision, like, it needs to not only be what this board hopes, but what does our community hope from this for our board to be doing? If I need to yell at somebody, I need to give me the direction of who I'm yelling at and why am I yelling? And we're there. We need to be on this. So, I will follow up after this meeting with an email to send to Kate. Kate will have some time. We'll try to get it out, if possibly reasonable, Kate, to maybe, if I get it all formulated for you, for it to be sent, tomorrow, if I have it all whizzed out here. Of course, my battery's dying on this thing. Not for long. Whoops, that's a magnet. So those were some pretty big concerns. I mean, it's things our community has fought hard for. And I just don't want to see it all for naught to just be written off the map and not have any say in what happens in the development of things down the road. Also looking at the path of if the argument was to be, we wanted to not be a part of the Southeast District, but rather be a part of the Southwest Supervisory Union. Is that a better way for us to retain our choice and actually work still contain a small district, but be dealing with the schools over that way, which is dealing with either Chester or Londonderry? Michael, I see your hands raised. Go ahead.
Sorry, I missed the first part of this conversation, so I might be redundant. But what my takeaways from that task force meeting, what parts of it I saw, it seems like their CME map or whatever it's called there, where they're going to split up between supervisory unions and districts, got turned down, and they're proposing I don't know, like a 5-area cooperative group, I guess, to in theory do the same sort of thing, like share resources. The problem is that Act 173 is pretty clear that they're supposed to submit a map of how to redistrict the state. So what they're producing is not fulfilling their mission, which could be problematic when the legislature meets. I would think that it would be conducive for our community to voice what our town wants towards our legislature as well as the task force. Because the reality is that the legislature is going to meet again and they're going to have to figure out what their direction is. And I think the governor's office is definitely pushing towards larger areas, whether you want to call them districts or supervisory unions, you can call them what you want, but much larger bodies. And Windham won't have a voice if we get to that point. If they use the CME map that they produced, the difference between where they put us and where other options is they continued the supervisory union in the southwest part of the state, and that was to ensure that some areas were allowed to retain choice, whereas the bulk of the state, they did not retain that supervisory union and they called it a supervisory district. So then they would have one governing board. That's sort of how they're trying to break up those areas. And Windham might or might not have a voice on that board. We don't know because they didn't even discuss how that would look. But if we're lumped into the southeast area, let's say, yeah, it was a district, we may or may not have a voice, and that could change everything that Windham has. It's hard to tell. Their map, which is now sort of defunct, but their map included a huge portion of the southern part of the state. It was definitely sort of concerning. I don't know exactly where Windham would line up. We might or might not be pushed south, but we also might be pushed north, which would be Chester, because they have a high school and a grade school there. But they're definitely pushing towards K through 12. So we would end up going to a district that has K through 12, which is slightly different than what we're used to. But if we want to retain choice, we definitely need to speak up because we're going to lose it. It's likely that we'll lose it if we don't speak up. Thanks.
And like I mentioned with transportation, my concern is we know contractors for the buses will not drive up Windham Hill. So when we look at futuristic, just say that our district goes away and that transportation goes away, our families are driving the kids to the bottom of the hill to get the bus. I don't know how maybe that's not an issue for people. I look at our roads are maintained very well. We are so blessed with our road crew that from Windham Hill Road all the way 121 to 11, very well maintained. And if say we did switch and we needed to have we're no longer a district, but at least in that route, transportation could come in. That's another thing I'm thinking of is that do we want to continue down the path with Townsend? Yes, we know there's the challenging hill, but Townsend may move to Brattleboro. where also Londonderry could move to, students in having to maybe go to Manchester, which is also a very terrifying drive. But there's so many moving factors. It's hard to say, well, we have to draw a line, but that's what they want. They want the maps and they want the lines drawn. So as we're obtaining information from our community, and like I'm saying, we want us to be able to scream from the mountaintops. We know what you want. Is this something that we don't care if we're driving our kids to Brattleboro, or do we want to consider something else? Like, what should we be as a district advocating for? So that will be something that we are going to prioritize in getting information out and gathering. So, how are you guys doing so far?
With because we do have the poll, we have a question in there about what direction the town wants us to point, and the importance of preserving choice and transportation. So we did address those in the poll. So I'm looking at those now if you want those numbers. But I also know that this was sent out prior to the changes and even the map being released. So I don't know how relevant these are, but they are here if you want to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got,
well, it was. I'll keep it brief, but we had 23 responses. 68% of the people who responded, though, don't have children in the K through 6. So it looks like it was really only about 30% parents. That being said, 45% polled wanted to go towards Londonderry. Like you said, that's complicated because Londonderry might also be absorbed. like if it is, so there's that. And 30% wanted to go to Townsend, and then you have 10% to Chester, and then somebody pointed out that Windham, the shape of Windham is not conducive to pick one direction because we're long and narrow. Choice is still very important. 70% said that is very important, and transportation, 56 said that is very important. 20% said it's a 3 out of 5 important, but 13 pointed to that it was very important. So yeah, I mean,
my biggest concern with the transportation is for the littlest ones. Not that I'm not concerned for the bigger kids too, but little kids learning to potty train, they're still trying to figure it out, and longer times on the bus.
A lot.
It's a lot for little kids, and they're already nervous with school. So, knowing that has the potential to continue to get further and further away, anything that increases the ability to support families in transportation, I think is a good direction to go by. For that alone, is that's going to be a huge, even if it's a longer travel time, at least if parents can juggle jobs and knowing their child's getting somewhere versus they work in Chester or Londonderry and now they're driving down to the bottom of Townsend to then head out to go to work. That can become quite problematic. So, and thank you very much, Kate, for getting that letter done and getting the survey out and those results. I'm stoked that many people responded, and hopefully in our next survey we get even more. Pat, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I think the transportation is important across the board. I really worry about the high school students. Without transportation, are they going to finish their high school education? I mean, I think that is something I feel is really important in a rural area like this. And if they had to make their own transportation arrangements to get down to Brattleboro, let's say, it's not going to happen.
Yep. And then it's also, again, if we know we don't have anybody coming up the hill, are those conditions are maybe that's a specific question on the survey. If transportation goes away, how comfortable are people with bringing their kids to the bottom of the hill? I know that was a bone of contention before, but now it might become more of a reality that happens. So
I also on on record, and I might be a little too optimistic in this, but if this really does all go very poorly, I do believe in the sense of community that Windham has, that we can that community members will show up for other community members in carpooling, in scheduling, in like I it's not a solution and it's messy, but I do think Windham is capable of that. It's not what anybody wants, but
Yeah,
I
and,
just
and
wanted
it's in the topics of transportation, of even our current conversations with transportation, the being able to rely and know that it exists. And I do feel we're unfairly serving our entire community. I wish we could have two buses and one's going one way, and another way, but that's not realistic, and it didn't seem it was really of interest, because families do that. But if you don't have the supports and you're new and you're trying to figure it out, that can be a major hurdle for people and a deterrent for folks to want to live in Windham. If they're not connected with the community, they're going to be
yeah.
in a rough spot till they do. So those are just challenging pieces. Michael and Pat, I both see your hands up, so we'll go Michael and then Pat.
I was going to suggest a curveball for the board. I'm sorry in advance. So it sounds like transportation is really big. It's a really big part of what our board is responsible for. And I think that our town fully supports the transportation of students, regardless of which direction they go. I would suggest that even if our board gets dissolved and absorbed by something else, if they don't provide transportation, I would think that the town would entertain the possibility of providing some semblance of transportation.
I'm not sure how legal that can be, though.
Well, it might be sticky, but we could probably figure something out. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The other thing that thought was interesting with the poll that Kate was talking about, 45% of the town wants to go the opposite direction. I'm wondering, and here comes the curveball. I'm wondering when our town sets up a bus schedule, if they might be able to coordinate with, let's say, Floodbrook to provide a pickup at the bottom of 121 and 11, or I don't know where they normally go, but like you also have Andover that is right there too. And I know I've seen the Andover bus that direction as well. So I'm wondering if when transportation becomes a topic again, I know the supervisory union is running that segment of the operation, but I'm wondering if they might be able to coordinate with, let's say, both Andover, or actually, I think it would be Chester technically, right? Because I think Andover goes to Chester. I'm wondering if they might be able to coordinate with both Andover/Chester and Floodbrook to make sure that there is the possibility, if people wanted to go those directions, the bus could say that, hey, we can drop students off. Thanks.
I'd be willing to reach out and find out about those bus options.
I think I've seen them K-turn on Horsenail. Yeah, if that's helpful. So I know they do K-turn on Windham property. So they do.
There's also, like I said, because of how that road is maintained. So say there was a big switcheroo and we went to the other direction, right? They might be able to have their drivers drive right into Windham and actually pick up the kids in town, because the roads it's not the other hill, it's not that one. So which is maintained by Townsend mostly. So that's the other piece, is it's not our guys that are doing it. So go ahead, Pat. You've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, I think when several years ago we did look at the Floodbrook bus, and it goes on Route 11. I think there's kids picked up at 121. So certainly, I think for Floodbrook, if we were looking at that, that would work, and I'm sure the same would be for Chester. But I want to throw another idea in, and that is Neighborhood Connections has transportation services, and I think they would be very willing to be our partner here in this transportation issue. And I think that would be worthwhile taking a look at what they might be able to offer, because they are providing transportation to communities in the mountain towns, and I think it's worth a look at that.
So, not to be a naysayer, but the unfortunate piece is there's a lot of legality that's wrapped around in transportation of children to school. So it has to be in a school bus. It has to have all the bright colors and flashing lights, and the bus driver has to have the certification. It's not, if we don't provide any transportation, I don't know the legality around them being able to assist with getting children to school. But I love being an outside the box thinker, Pat. If that's something more you want to look into and see if that is something that Neighborhood Connections could do. It's just my understanding is I don't think kids can get transported to school unless it's with the parents giving permission for another parent, or you have all the bells and whistles and you're providing a service of transportation, which requires you to have all the licensing and all that neat stuff to be a bus driver.
Well, I
So
think a conversation should be held.
yeah. I know you're connected with those folks. Would you be willing to see
Yeah.
what people's
I'll be-
thoughts are?
Yeah, I will talk to the executive director, and yeah, I'm on the board. So I think it would be worthwhile taking a look at it. They're in a position to, I mean, they provide a lot of transportation already, and it may or may not be possible. I don't know, but it is a resource in our community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing back from you as to how that goes. Um, and so here we are kind of wrapping up the redistricting discussion. There's a lot of information. As I said, we'll follow up with more information. I'm going to email Kate tonight that she can forward out to everybody, which is going to be the task force's whatever I called it there. Of course, I lost it. Task force. Where did it go? Oh, because it's in my school board email. Oh my God. Hot mess mom today. Watch out. Okay, the task force takeaway. That's like what their minutes are called. And the where to get the school district redistricting task force kind of info, a video of the last meeting, and I think that would do it for now as far as just some information to get out to the community and be encouraging for people to reach out to the different folks and let them know Windham wants a voice. I would also suggest anyone that other than what we can put out as a board, make the subject header of your email Windham, Vermont, so that as they're getting these emails, they know exactly where it's coming from and what they can get into the content in the subject, but or in the, you guys know what I mean. It's getting late. I've been trying to keep these to an hour and we're going into overtime. So bear with me as I'm dwindling. Pat, I see your hand still raised. Was there anything else? Okay. So anything else that you guys want to ask or talk about with this redistricting stuff? Should we be sending that letter still?
It feels a little tone deaf to do it at this point, unless it gets rewritten. That's my opinion.
Well, since you did first draft, how about I take second draft since I went to the last meeting? And
Okay.
then I'll send it out to you too. If you like it, just say
Okay.
yes. And
Okay.
if you say yes, I will add your name and send it. And
Okay.
I'll copy you guys in too. So
Okay.
and I'll have that. So we'll hopefully get that sent out tomorrow. And we should be getting, with a lot of this, some hopefully we'll get some more communication. So anything else that we need to talk about with redistricting, or can we move into the rest of the stuff? Moving along. Okay. So I added self-assessment and vision. So this is going to be quick. So because this should be included, and we need to get our brains at least wrapping around this portion. At our next meeting, if each of you go to the toolkit, the VSBA website, if you haven't already, take a look at self-assessment and vision. And that, where do you think you're doing on stuff in your role? Where do you see how this can go? It is not looking to be like a major, I don't want a thesis. It's just general bullet points and ideas. This doesn't need to be a heavy lift. Ballpark, where we're seeing ourselves now, where we want to be at. And then future agenda items. We're going to continue to talk about this task force stuff. That's going to be on every meeting. And if something comes up throughout correspondence that we feel the need to send any additional letter, I think I'd be willing to have a special meeting to get that out. So I'm just going to throw that out there. So I think as we're getting feedback from the community, as the emails start coming through, if people ask questions, we can really take that to heart to formulate how that's going to look, and maybe blast off something else and just keep sending them things. Other things to add is keeping track of building usage. Now that it's picking up, making sure that the B does have the copy of the waivers as well in email. So the Living Strong group used a bunch today. I'm going to replenish that and have them here. And we just got to make sure when anybody is using the building that they are completing those waivers. And as Michael said, until we work out some other different thing, that's kind of where we're at. That's how we're covered through our insurance. So I think that covers stuff for new business. So you guys ready to move on to old business? We're getting closer. Okay, approved minutes. And I apologize to Meredith. I have not read them. She is so good and she gets them out very quickly. Have either of you guys had the opportunity to see the minutes from our last meeting?
No.
Well, let's move these minutes along. She does have them. They're posted. They're on there. This isn't like we're missing anything. So we'll approve that at our next meeting. And then approve financials. Let me pull that up. We can crank that out. So we have one pay order number 6 in the amount of $124,239.60. Now, some folks might go, whoa, holy pay order. This is tuition for 13 students for TES and Leland and Gray. One of 2 for 1st through 6th grade. So that was 123.32. So that is a big chunk of why this is a huge bill. There's also bill backs for mileage and the bus for $112.60. Our BCTV looks like they're getting caught up on payments to them because that's 3 meetings being billed. I don't know if that's a quarterly bill for them. And so I don't see anything on here that is not worth signing on to. So I move to approve pay order number 6 in the amount of $239.60. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries, and I just finalized it. So there's that document. Now something else that came through for financials is I also received, it looks like a board stipend payment to come out. So that didn't have, there it is. It didn't have like a pay order number. It's just board stipend. And I didn't see your guys's, and I can't remember how we all get paid, but are you,
There's a
you
there's
receive
a
an e-document?
you have to there's a thing in your email that you have to sign, and for me they don't have a copy of my license or social, so I got that squared away on my end, which is why it's not on there, which is, it's fine.
Okay. So mine is on there, and it is for, let's see. 1250. So $1,250, which is what I think we're agreed upon at town meeting, correct?
Mhm.
So it looks like generally the fall is when we do that. So if that isn't squared away, we should be seeing that, I would imagine, by the next meeting.
Fine.
So, I'm going to move to approve the stipend. I mean, I don't for that amount. And, if that's okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, so that is done for billing. And let's see. That is what we've got. So I want to thank everyone. It has been a wild few weeks trying to kind of keep our head above water with just being sponges for information, trying to navigate what's going to happen with our community and where things are going to go. I do feel a lot better now knowing, if anybody gets a chance to watch some of that live stream of the last meeting, that task force was pretty spicy amongst itself. There's some really passionate people doing their best to hear everybody out and put together something that's going to really be effective. And I hope people can reach out to let them know what's going on. So, Kathy, did you have any updates for us by any chance, since you're still here?
Yes, I do. I think that the lawyer finally has everything she needs, but no sooner did she have it than she left for a planned vacation. So, literally, she got it on Thursday. She left on Friday. She will be back Monday, the 17th. And I am so hopeful that this will end it and we can close escrow. But I don't know, I see what the problem was for anybody that's interested. The original deed that transferred the property from the Stanzels or Starzels to the district, on it said, we are transferring this to the Windham School District, a municipality. And so when they saw a municipality, there were a couple of the lawyers who believed that the town actually owned the school. But if you reread it, whoever filled it out in 1963, they meant that the Windham School District was in a municipality of the county of Windham. I mean, it was just ridiculous, frankly. But anyway, they have all the data. We've communicated. Our attorney, Bob Fisher, has been in communication with her also. And when she comes back on Monday, I will be following up. And I hope that we will have good news by the end of the week, next week.
That's wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. That's
You're
really great
welcome.
news.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Kathy.
All right. Would anybody like to do the honors? And before we do that, just I super appreciate everyone that's attended tonight and hopefully reviews the information we shared throughout this meeting and starts taking some action because we need our community to let us know how they want us driving this force to move forward. So who wants to do it? Need a motion to?
A motion to adjourn.
Here you go, Dan. I second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. If we could just make sure we get this recording to Meredith and Helena, so that she can get our minutes and Helena can do the editing and make us sound even better than
No problems.
you. Awesome. All right. Well, I really appreciate you guys. Have a great night
To
and
everybody.
Sylvia, you wanna say
Thanksgiving
bye?
if I don't
Bye-bye.
see you guys.